Part 1. The Quiet Struggle. The morning light crept through the worn curtains of a small terraced house in Manchester, casting long shadows across the worn wooden floor. Emma Williams sat at the kitchen table, her fingers trembling as she counted, the last few pounds in her wallet. The stack of unpaid bills seemed to mock her, growing taller with each passing week. At 42, Emma had never imagined her life would look like this. Just 6 months ago, she had been a reliable factory worker, supporting herself and her aging father, Robert. But when the textile factory closed down, everything changed. The town had been hit hard, with jobs becoming as rare as sunshine in a Manchester winter. Robert sat in his old armchair by the window, his weathered hands clutching a faded photograph of Emma's late mother. He had been a proud factory worker himself, spending 30 years in the same machine room before retiring. Now he relied entirely on Emma, his health slowly failing with each passing season. "We'll be okay," Emma whispered, more to herself than to her father. She had always been the strong one, the one who kept their small family together. Her mother had died when Emma was just 16, forcing her to grow up quickly and become the backbone of their household. The morning routine was always the same. Emma would prepare a simple breakfast, 2 slices of toast, a small portion of margarine, and weak tea. She carefully measured out their food, knowing every penny and every morsel counted. Her job hunting had become a full-time occupation, with countless applications sent and even more rejections received. Today felt different. Emma had circled 3 job advertisements in the local newspaper. A small cleaning company, a local supermarket, and a warehouse were looking for workers. She would visit each place in person, dressed in her best and only interview outfit, a slightly worn but carefully pressed grey skirt and a white blouse that had seen better days. Before leaving, she helped her father with his morning medication. Robert's hands shook as he tried to button his cardigan. "You don't have to worry about me," he said, his voice weak but filled with love. "You need to focus on yourself." Emma smiled, but inside she was breaking. The weight of their situation pressed down on her shoulders like a physical burden. She knew their savings were almost gone. The electricity bill was 2 months overdue, and winter was approaching. The thought of her father being cold terrified her more than anything else. As she walked through the streets of their working-class neighborhood, Emma saw the marks of economic struggle everywhere. Boarded-up shops, to-let signs in windows, groups of unemployed men standing on street corners. This wasn't the vibrant community she remembered from her childhood. The local job center had become a second home to her. She had memorized every poster, every notice board. The staff knew her by name now, offering sympathetic smiles that did little to ease her mounting anxiety. Each rejected application felt like a personal failure. Walking back home, Emma passed the old factory where she had worked for 15 years. The massive building now stood empty, windows broken, a monument to lost hopes and shattered dreams. She remembered the day they announced the closure, how her world had suddenly collapsed. But Emma was not a woman who gave up easily. Her mother had taught her resilience, her father had shown her strength. She would find a way. She always did. As evening approached, she prepared a simple dinner for her father, a thin vegetable soup made from discounted vegetables and some stale bread. They would eat together, sharing what little they had, finding comfort in each other's presence. Before going to bed, Emma allowed herself a moment of vulnerability. In the quiet of her small bedroom, she let a few tears fall, but only a few. Tomorrow was another day, another chance to turn things around. The house settled into silence, with only the soft breathing of Emma and her father breaking the quiet. Outside, the streetlights flickered, casting long shadows on the empty road, a silent witness to countless stories of struggle and hope. In this moment, in this small house in Manchester, Emma represented thousands of people fighting against economic hardship, holding on to hope with nothing more than determination and love. Part 2. A Glimmer of Hope. The community centre stood like a beacon of possibility on Maple Street, its brick walls weathered but welcoming. Emma hesitated at the entrance, her hand hovering over the door handle. The application for the skills training program felt heavy in her bag, a mixture of hope and uncertainty weighing her down. Inside, the center was warm and bustling with activity. Posters announcing job training, community workshops and support groups covered the walls. Emma approached the reception desk, her heart racing. A kind-looking man in his early 40s noticed her nervous approach. "Can I help you?" he asked, his voice gentle and encouraging. Jack Peterson, the center's employment counselor, had seen countless people like Emma, hard-working individuals caught in the relentless cycle of unemployment. He listened carefully as Emma explained her situation, her words tumbling out in a mix of desperation and determination. The skills training program was her last hope. With just enough money to cover basic expenses, Emma knew this opportunity could change everything. Jack reviewed her application, noting her previous factory experience and her obvious willingness to learn. "We have a morning computer skills class," Jack explained, sliding a brochure across the desk. "It starts next week. I think you'd be perfect for it." Emma's first day of training felt like stepping into another world. The computer room was filled with people from different backgrounds, young graduates, middle-aged workers like herself, and older individuals looking to restart their careers. Some looked as nervous as she felt. The instructor, a patient woman named Claire, began with the basics. Emma's fingers felt clumsy on the keyboard, but she was determined. While others seemed frustrated, she approached each task with quiet concentration. Her years of factory work had taught her patience and precision. During a break, Emma met other participants. There was Michael, a former truck driver forced to change careers after an injury, and Elizabeth, a single mother trying to support her children. They shared stories of struggle, finding comfort in their shared experience. At home, Emma practiced everything she learned. Her father watched with pride, making her cups of tea and offering words of encouragement. "You're doing something amazing," he would say, his eyes bright with hope. The weeks passed and Emma's confidence grew. She learned to create professional emails, build a resume, and navigate job search websites. Each small victory felt like a mountain conquered. Jack noticed her progress, often pulling her aside to offer additional guidance. One afternoon, Jack introduced her to a local business owner looking for an administrative assistant. The opportunity seemed impossible, but Emma had learned that nothing was truly impossible. Her practice paid off. The computer skills she had struggled with now felt natural. Her resume, once a jumbled mess, now looked professional and clear. Emma began to see herself differently, not as a victim of circumstance, but as someone with potential. The training program was more than just learning technical skills. It was about rebuilding confidence, understanding personal worth, and finding hope in difficult times. Emma discovered a strength she never knew she possessed. Her father watched her transformation with growing excitement. The worried lines on his face began to soften. For the first time in months, he saw real hope in his daughter's eyes. "I'm proud of you," he would say, watching her practice computer skills in the evening. "Your mother would have been proud too." Emma's journey wasn't just about finding a job. It was about rediscovering herself, about proving that age was not a barrier to learning and growth. Each day brought new challenges, but also new opportunities. As winter approached, the warmth of possibility began to replace the cold of uncertainty. Emma walked differently now, head held high, shoulders straight, eyes focused on the future. The community center had become more than just a building. It was a place of transformation, of second chances. And for Emma, it was the first step towards a new life. Her story was just beginning. Part 3, Breaking Barriers. The winter wind bit hard against Emma's face as she walked to her training session, clutching her worn winter coat tightly. Her father had carefully mended a small tear in the sleeve, his trembling hands showing love in every careful stitch. Jack had been right about the training program. Each day brought new challenges that pushed Emma beyond her comfort zone. The computer skills she once found terrifying now felt like a language she was slowly mastering. She practiced typing with determination, her fingers moving more confidently with each passing week. One morning, a special workshop focused on interview skills caught her attention. Claire, the instructor, taught them how to present themselves professionally. Emma watched herself in the mirror, practicing her introduction. Her voice, once timid, now carried a hint of confidence. During a group exercise, Emma shared her story. She spoke about losing her factory job, about supporting her father, about the struggles of finding work in a town hit hard by economic changes. Her honesty touched something in the room. Other participants looked at her with respect, recognizing a strength that went beyond mere words. Michael, a fellow trainee, approached her after the session. "You've got something special," he said. "That kind of determination can't be taught." His words meant more to Emma than any certificate could. At home, Emma continued to practice. Her father would sit nearby, listening to her rehearse interview techniques. "You sound like a boss," he would joke, his laughter a precious sound that warmed their small home. The training program wasn't just about technical skills. It was about rebuilding self-belief. Emma learned to see her age not as a limitation, but as an advantage. Her years of experience, her resilience, these were strengths that younger candidates couldn't match. Jack continued to support her. He helped her refine her resume, pointing out her transferable skills from the factory. "You're not starting over," he would say. "You're moving forward." One afternoon, an unexpected opportunity arrived. A local business needed an administrative assistant, someone who could handle paperwork, manage communications, and bring organizational skills to their small office. The job description seemed perfect for Emma. Her interview preparation became intense. She practiced answers to potential questions, dressed carefully in her best outfit. Her father helped her iron her blouse, his hands shaking but his heart full of pride. The day of the interview arrived. Emma walked into the small business office, her steps steady, her breathing controlled. The business owner, a woman named Sarah, looked surprised by Emma's confident demeanor. "Tell me about yourself," Sarah asked. Emma spoke clearly, sharing her journey. She talked about her factory experience, her recent training, her determination to learn and grow. She didn't apologize for her age or her past. Instead, she presented herself as a valuable potential employee. Something changed during that interview. Emma realized she was no longer the scared woman who had first walked into the community center. She had transformed. Her skills, her confidence, her life experience, these were her greatest assets. As she walked home that evening, the winter sky painted in shades of pink and orange, Emma felt different. The weight of uncertainty had lifted. She had faced her fears, broken through her own barriers. Her father was waiting, watching through the window. When she entered, he could see the change in her eyes. "How did it go?" he asked. Emma smiled. A smile that spoke of hope, of possibility, of a future being rebuilt one moment at a time. The barriers were breaking, and she was the one breaking them. Her journey was far from over. But for the first time in years, Emma could see a path forward. Clear, bright, promising. The wind outside seemed to whisper with potential, and Emma was ready to listen. Part 4. The Turning Point. The telephone rang unexpectedly on a cold Tuesday morning. Emma's hands trembled as she picked up the receiver, her heart racing with a mixture of hope and anxiety. Sarah's voice came through, clear and direct. "The job is yours," she said simply. Emma could barely breathe. The words took a moment to sink in. After months of uncertainty, of endless applications and rejected hopes, she had finally been offered a job. Her first thought was of her father, how this would change everything for them. The administrative position at the small local business was more than just a job. It was a lifeline. The salary wasn't huge, but it was enough to cover their basic needs. Emma would be managing communications, organizing paperwork, and supporting the business's daily operations. Her first day was a whirlwind of new experiences. The office was small but welcoming, with large windows that let in plenty of natural light. Her colleagues were kind, patient with her as she learned the new computer systems and office protocols. Emma approached each task with the same determination she had shown during her training. At home, everything began to change. She could now afford proper medication for her father. The electricity bill that had haunted them for months could finally be paid. Small luxuries, like fresh vegetables and a little extra heating, became possible. Robert's health seemed to improve with Emma's newfound stability. His eyes, once filled with worry, now sparkled with pride. "You've done it," he would say, watching her prepare for work each morning. "Your mother would have been so proud." The job taught Emma more than she expected. She learned about modern business communication, developed her computer skills, and discovered a confidence she never knew she possessed. Each day brought new challenges, and Emma met them head-on. Jack from the community center visited her one afternoon, his face beaming with pride. "You're a success story," he told her. "You're proving that age is just a number, that determination matters more than anything else." Emma's story began to inspire others. At the community center, she started sharing her experience with other job seekers. She spoke about her journey, the struggles, the training, the eventual success. Her honesty gave hope to those who felt lost. The local newspaper even ran a small story about her. "Local woman finds hope through community training," the headline read. Emma was both embarrassed and proud. She had become a symbol of resilience for her community. Her relationship with her colleagues grew stronger. They appreciated her work ethic, her attention to detail, her willingness to learn. Sarah, the business owner, often remarked that hiring Emma was one of the best decisions she had made. But the greatest joy came from the changes at home. Emma could now care for her father properly. They could share better meals, keep their home warm, and most importantly, they had hope. The constant stress that had defined their lives for months began to melt away. One evening, as Emma helped her father with his medication, he looked at her with tears in his eyes. "You've saved us," he whispered. "You've saved our family." Emma realized that this job was more than just employment. It was a turning point. She had broken through barriers of age, unemployment, and economic struggle. She had proven that with determination, support, and hard work, anything was possible. The small house on the quiet street now felt different. Where there was once worry, there was now hope. Where there was once uncertainty, there was now stability. Emma had transformed not just her own life, but the life of her entire family. As winter turned to spring, Emma looked forward with a sense of excitement. The world seemed full of possibilities. She had learned that life could change in an instant, that hope was always just around the corner. Her journey was a testament to the power of resilience, of never giving up, of believing in oneself even. When the world seemed dark, the turning point had come, and Emma was ready for whatever came next. Part 5. New Beginnings. 1 year had passed since Emma's life had changed. The small administrative job had become more than just work. It had become a pathway to something bigger. Her confidence grew with each passing month, her skills expanding beyond what she had ever imagined possible. Sarah, her boss, recognized Emma's potential. She began giving her more responsibilities, trusting her with important client communications and complex organizational tasks. Emma discovered she had a natural talent for problem-solving that went far beyond her initial expectations. At home, her father's health continued to improve. The stable income meant better medical care, nutritious food, and less stress. Robert watched his daughter with increasing pride, seeing a strength in her that reminded him of her late mother. Emma didn't stop learning. She continued taking online courses during her free time, expanding her computer skills and business knowledge. The community center that had first given her hope now became a place where she volunteered, helping other job seekers find their own path. Her story spread through the local community. People would stop her on the street, sharing their own struggles, finding inspiration in her journey. Michael from her training program had found a job too, and they would often meet for coffee, sharing stories of their new beginnings. One afternoon, Jack from the community center approached her with an unexpected opportunity. They wanted her to become a part-time mentor for their job training program. Emma was shocked. Her, a mentor, the woman who had been so lost just a year ago, but she accepted. Her first mentoring session was nerve-wracking. She sat with a group of job seekers, sharing her story honestly. The struggles, the fears, the moments of doubt. Her vulnerability touched everyone in the room. She wasn't presenting a perfect success story, but a real human journey. The extra income from mentoring allowed Emma to make more improvements. She repainted their small house, fixed the leaky roof, created a comfortable space for her father. Each small improvement felt like a victory against years of hardship. Her colleagues at work began to see her as more than just an administrative assistant. She became a crucial part of the team, her life experience and determination setting her apart. Sarah often remarked that hiring Emma was the best decision the company had made. As spring turned to summer, Emma reflected on her journey. The woman who had walked into the community center a year ago seemed like a stranger now. She had discovered a strength she never knew she possessed. Age was no longer a barrier. It was a source of wisdom. Her father's health continued to improve. The worry lines that had once defined his face had softened. He spent his days reading, enjoying the peace that came with financial stability. "You've given me a second life," he would tell Emma, his eyes filled with love. The community began to recognize Emma's contributions. The local newspaper did a follow-up story, highlighting her journey from unemployment to mentorship. She became a symbol of hope for many, proof that it was never too late to restart, to dream, to succeed. Jack from the community center approached her with an even bigger opportunity. They wanted her to help develop new training programs, to use her experience to help design courses that could truly make a difference for job seekers. Emma thought about her mother, who had always believed in the power of hard work and kindness. She would have been proud to see her daughter now, strong, confident, making a difference in her community. As evening fell, Emma sat with her father, sharing a simple meal. They talked about the future, something they hadn't done in years. There were plans now, hopes, dreams that seemed possible. Her journey had taught her that life was about resilience, about getting up every time you fall, about believing in yourself even when the world seems dark. She had transformed not just her own life, but had become a beacon of hope for others. The small house on the quiet street now felt different. It was no longer just a place of survival, but a home of possibility. Emma looked out the window, watching the sunset, knowing that this was not an ending, but a beginning. A new chapter was just starting.